Okay, here we are. We are in spring. We've just had a lovely conversation with our wife. We've just been enjoying the view, taking a little respite, and now I think it is time to go and figure everything out. I can see our journal over there, our diary, so we want to see if anything's been updated. I'm assuming this episode's going to be not as much action. I mean, we had some serious action with the tugboat and the bridge, and I think now sort of the game is going to slow us down a little bit, give us a little bit more information about where we're headed into the next section. And because I think it went winter, Volga, and now it's spring, and then it's going to land us wherever that happens to be. So let's go ahead and get up.
Time to go.
Yep.
Okay, let me get up.
Yep, gotta get up. Time to get up. Oh, there's a postcard right there. Can I get that postcard? Oh, it won't let me get that. How do you get that postcard? Oh well, we'll come back and get it. Maybe we'll see if we can get it later. So here's our workbench, all our guns. Let's sit down at this and see what we got. So we could turn on the radio. I might do that in a minute. See if there's, well, let's do it. Let's see if there's any, not necessarily music, but we're looking for, oh. Keneal. Well, okay, so that's somebody. It's probably our next.
Why are you guys kissing Menshikhov's ass so much? All these advances even arrived in your Kursk. Not even 2 years. You better reconsider your position on Menshikov.
Menshikov.
Started trading with the convicts from Zolotoy? Huh? Well, that was Zakhar's idea. And Zakhar is the man. He couldn't play cow. Alone. He would sign on to anything he proposes at once. Well, Menshikov, they couldn't care less about it.
Aren't you getting too big in your head? You're so cool now that the relay gang is off your case. Don't fall off that high horse.
Okay, these are obviously. Go to hell, Dan.
I can live with listening to Menshikov if you're so fond of him.
Menshikov.
Enough of that shit already. The important part is that Irkut's still around.
Kutsik.
You guys are too.
You're right. That is the important part. Well, give my regards to Menshikov. Over and out.
Interesting.
Over and out.
Okay, so obviously, let's go back to this.
Attention. This is the speaking from the Ark Project base. Everyone who can hear me. Everyone still loyal to the gods. Proceed to the
Okay, so that's our.
point location is code
Yeah,
81.
we've heard that already.
-79. Area 18-5.
18-5.
Proceed to the rally point. Rally point location.
Okay. Oh shit.
Come in, please. Over.
Azamat.
Warhol, reading you loud and clear. What's your problem, crying all over the air like that? Over. Finally. Nobody can hear me, that's my problem. Ah, that. Yeah, that happens. I thought there was something going on. How are you doing anyway? Over. Well, everything is fine actually. Family life, you know. Why do you sound so bored in that case? Are you feeling adventurous? Yeah, just a bit. What's the holdup then? Come over here, old Sabertooth misses you. There's also something brewing here, so your help would be kind of welcome. So just come over. You copy? Over. Copy that. I like the idea. We'll start packing tonight and get back to you once we're ready to move out. Is that okay? Over. Ah, that's my man. We'll be expecting you soon then. Over and out.
Okay.
Give the old Sabertooth my regards. Over and out.
Interesting. Lots of background or forwards really of people we're going to be meeting probably.
By standing together, shall we overcome any and all obstacles.
This is the location of the Ark, I believe. Looks like that's the same channel. Okay, let's go ahead. Is there any more, or is that it? That was a lot. That's just music, I think. Oh. Music. More music. Okay. So that was like 3 or 4 conversations. That was a lot. Wait, what do we got here? Is it the same? Yeah, that's our, yeah, okay, that's our ARC channel. So we got a lot of information there. Let's turn that radio off.
How long have we been on the road for?
And
I've
let's
been
go
listening
back.
to the radio too. And there was not a single transmission about any occupying force.
Yeah, right?
There's so much regular chatter. So many stories.
Yeah, we just heard some of
Since
those.
all those are coded transmissions, that they all have hidden meaning, but
Really? I don't know.
why would they be so secretive? Why
Yeah.
aren't they using this railroad? Why don't they at least control its key junctions? Why did they not install any roadblocks? If they are even out here. This
Yeah.
is the main transport artery, after all. Maybe they are not here at all. Maybe they never came here.
Mhm.
Or they are already gone. Though, where to? Remember? Neither Katya nor Christ have ever met them. Though we seem to be doing just fine even without them. It's like the Middle Ages. That Silentius is treating people like slaves, getting them killed. I can't believe they had it worse without his lies, nonsense, and human sacrifices.
Hmm.
And us? We had been living down there for so many years, fighting each other.
So she's still talking about the same thing when we first sat down. She's a little mad. Okay, so let's check our diary here, see if anything has changed. We're not going to read this whole thing. If you want to go back, it's one of the earlier episodes. I read this whole thing. This usually is the thing that happens at the beginning. Yeah, these are the things we heard at the beginning of this video, or actually the last video, in terms of leaving Volga behind. We haven't hit the next area yet. Our crew has been the same. I don't think these would have changed at all or updated. I wish it would. It sort of put a exclamation point on all these, but I don't think that changed anything. Let's see. Anna. If there was anything new at the end. This one was sort of really sad when we read it. Oh no, this is this is updated. Okay, so Anna, you wanted to believe me and you couldn't. You tried to not pay attention to your father and you did. The Colonel firmly believes that our country is occupied and that the war is still going on, and that makes us jumpy. Makes us expect an attack at every turn. Makes us look for traces of enemy presence everywhere. He has us riled up. And Anna is not immune to that. She was so eager to find the occupying forces in that tiny abandoned village near the bridge over Volga that she saw an American banner in a mere old t-shirt. We saw that too. We thought it might have been a flag, but I guess it was just a t-shirt. She went to investigate and fell through the roof of an old chemical storage silo. Luckily, the chemicals seemed to have been long since expired, and Anna got away with just a few bruises. Needless to say, there was not a trace of foreign troops' presence anywhere close. Although, she was quite sick, or she has been coughing a lot since she fell through there. So, let's see if there's anything new down here. Yeah. There's one problem, though. It's been a few days since we left Moscow, but we still have yet to find a trace of the occupying forces. So this one didn't change. I guess we missed the exclamation points here. Can't forgive his father for leaving. Going as far to deny his blood being... Yeah, that's the same. Duke. Igor likes being called the Duke of Darkness, but you can hardly find a lighter-hearted guy. He is but a brat, taking crazy risks all the time, but Lady Luck smiles to the brave. If not for the trick he played on Silantius, that old obscurant, our whole operation could have failed. Duke, my friend, your star is undoubtedly on the rise, and soon you will outshine all of us. We be of one blood, ye and I, and I'm proud of it. So that's a new paragraph. There are people who would dream of becoming... Yeah, okay. Right? So, interesting. We did get a trophy for Duke. I didn't really look at it, what it meant, but maybe the option was that he could have died on the bridge there or something if we had not been as stealthy as we were. I don't know. So, Yermak... Every man has a destination in life, a place where the fate leads him to. This doesn't seem to be a new. This might be the end of the line, but it's still not your destination. Get up, walk on. Thank you, Yermak. Yeah, that's not new. So we have Idiot. I think he's the same. He'll confuse you completely in no time. One thing about him that I don't understand at all is what could he even be looking for fighting in the Order's ranks? That's the last sentence there. That's not new. Alyosha is the only member of our crew seemingly taking our journey for an exciting adventure. That's the same. Sam. Did we find anything else new about Sam? I wish they would mark the paragraphs a little bit better. While we were waiting for the Aurora's repairs to be completing... Yeah, this is the new paragraph. While we were waiting for the Aurora's repairs to be completed, thinking on how to cross the river, Sam, in light of our constant mentions of occupying forces, hypnotized himself into believing that the colonel didn't trust him. It must be heartbreaking to have served a commander for 20 years with unquestioning loyalty, only to be considered a traitor. But it must be equally heartbreaking to have become so close to your old enemy, only to learn that your country might still be there. After all, and if the war still is going on, whose side are you on, Sam? Who are you? So Sam's got some loyalty issues, possibly, or just questioning his people, right? Right after, this is second paragraph, right until meeting Katya, Stepan had never defied the colonel. But when Miller didn't want to let the woman and her daughter board the Aurora, he started a real quarrel. The colonel was noticeably thrown off, while the rest of us immediately understood what was going on. he wants them to be there. Still, as any good commander, Miller quickly saw through Stepan and let himself being talked into letting Katya and Nastya aboard. With this addition, Stepan was sure to never leave the crew. Interesting. Yeah, so there are some new paragraphs here. That's kind of fun. All right, so Tokarev... that's the same. He's unrequitedly, hopelessly, and quietly in love with my wife. So that, Katya and Nastya, so this is new. I can't really imagine what Katya and Nastya had been through, and how they managed to keep their sanity, much less remain as optimistic as they are. A little girl and a tender woman proved to be tougher than fate. Thinking all the blows it could throw at them squarely. You know what I'm going to do real quick? I have to do it. I'm going to come back to this in just a second, because why is it so loud? There we go. Let's turn that down so we can read this in peace, and then we'll turn it back up. My goodness. So we want to go here. We want to go to crew. Yeah, Katya and Nastya. I feel like I'm yelling over the train sounds, and it got louder when we were in the diary for some reason. Okay. Where were we? Little girl and a tender woman proved to be tougher than fate, taking all the blows it could throw at them squarely, and those blows were many and mighty. They had arrived at Volga with a group of migrants who were out on a quest for a better life. That quest ended with them finding a new faith, quote-unquote, and their death along with it. Of course, Silantius didn't kill anyone himself. He didn't even order anyone killed. Still, his quote-unquote holy ritual, where an initiate must dispose of an electric anomaly to be accepted into the fold. How is it different from a murder in cold blood? Oh, wow. Interesting. It's no wonder that the Colonel lets Stepan and Anna coax him into letting Katya and Nastya aboard the Aurora, even though there must be numerous dangers waiting for us. Still, I would argue that these ladies are tougher than some battle-hardened troopers. Besides, Katya is a trained nurse, and we will most probably need all the medical expertise we can get, right? Crest, an avid storyteller, a talented mechanic, and a natural-born adventurer who traveled all across the vast expanses of this threatening world of the surface, so alien to us, who'd been through hundreds of scuffles and struck thousands of deals, quite a few of which could well be of the less scrupulous sort. I didn't know if Crest will be journeying with us for long, but I am not surprised he had such an easy time fitting in. Right from the start, he gave us the hand with fixing the Aurora, gave us the railcar he'd been using in his adventures, and then went with us on a mission to capture the tugboat, giving Duke and me the cover we needed to infiltrate the bridge. It's no wonder that even our usually cautious colonel had no second thoughts about welcoming Crest into the crew. It's interesting, his railcar was so inside the terminal, all packed around all those beasts and stuff. Did he have to go and do that every time? That's crazy. All right, so I think that's the last of our crew. Let's look at the new world. With no state and its laws, with no pockets of civilization, with the new civic society could crystallize around, with no hope of ever going back to normal life, should one be surprised with the rise of anarchy and its consequences? Bandits constructing their rudimentary societies around the basest aspects of the human nature? Even in the tunnels of Moscow Metro, where every meter has been divided between the quasi-states attempting to uphold some semblance of order on their turf, the gangs flourish. What could one expect from the world of surface? From the world of surface, where there is simply nobody and nothing to stand up to them. On the banks of Volga, there seem to be a great many of bandit gangs. They have somehow agreed on the division or spheres of influence and are more or less happily coexisting, robbing the few remaining or newly founded in the less populated regions peaceful survival settlements and selling their denizens of slaves on the markets of the South. Ooh, here's about the fanatics. The worships of a giant mutant catfish. Intense hatred towards the technology and outsiders, coupled with intense suppression of all individuality and independent thought within the community. What else could one reasonably expect from a mix of a primitive mysticism with classic religion, seeped with good old founders' cult of personality? I must give the fanatics their dues. Though by banding together they managed to survive in this wild world, settling a bridge and turning it into a veritable fortress, which we had no choice but to take seriously, their best fighters, the lightning fighters, can fight back against the electric anomalies and even gangs of bandits, compensating for their lack in training by strong motivation rooted in their fanaticism. So, yeah, the guys they were really able to go after those anomalies. We saw that one time where they built up the lightning rods. There was a whole faith thing there. I would love to go back and play Volga in that whole section in another way. Okay, we've already learned about Hansa and exhibition in the other one. So creatures, let's see what we have for creatures. We know about the Watchmen, the demons, humanimals. Whoa, these are these weird guys. Like the other mutants created by radioactive fallout, these nightmarish creatures feel right at home in the inhospitable post-war world, despite clearly being descended from humans. These creatures are not really that smart, resembling apes in their behavior. They live in packs, don't use any tools, and defend themselves mostly by throwing stones from a distance. One such mutant is not much of a threat, but a fight against a pack of these is hard to survive. It's very true. They can be taken down with the throwing knives pretty easily, except the ones that are really weird. They're like more blue or dark or something. They seem to be a little bit harder to take down. They take more than the one knife. But our first encounter with these creatures happened on the banks of Volga. In the open, they seemed harmless and even pathetic, their ugly appearance accentuated by the sluggishness of their movements. Yet inside the abandoned loading terminal building, they proved to be more than just troublesome to me. It became apparent that besides throwing stones, they were also capable of ambushing their prey by hiding in shallow water. Interesting. We never felt... I don't think we ever got ambushed. Oh, that first when we came around that one corner. Yeah, the first area where we encountered them in there. They did sort of ambush us. That was the only time they did that, though. The czarfish. Generally a giant mutant catfish. Terrorizing the fishermen would seem to be a dubious object of worship at best, but Salantius still managed to indoctrinate the locals he'd brainwashed into believing the monster was sent to the earth with a divine mission. We failed to kill the czarfish at the end of the terminal section. We did that puzzle a little backwards, and so and then we ended up we couldn't go back, and we couldn't invite him back. So it's a sad day that we didn't kill the catfish, but if we want to go and get that trophy someday, we'll go back and play that area. The shrimp, the female shrimp, a mysterious aquatic life form, seemingly crustacean, of course. Oh, crustacean. Of course, you can't be sure these days. As far as I know, nobody ever thought of properly researching them and finding their proper place in classification. What we know is that they have strong carapaces, that must be something on their body, and aggressive predators, and as such inherently dangerous. The females of the species tend to attack in packs, spitting corrosive mucus from the distance, or when they think they can easily finish their prey, going in for a kill with their disgusting leech-like mouths. Those things are really gross, and that spit that they do is unbelievably hard to avoid, and you die a lot with them. So the shrimp male, a mysterious aquatic life form, seemingly crustacean. Of course, you can't seem to be sure these days. As far as I know, probably nobody thought of properly researching them and finding their proper place in classification. What we know is that they have extremely strong... Oh, these are the same. Oh, okay. The male of the species tend to live solitary lives and are extremely territorial. Once they see anything they deem a threat, they immediately attack, using their massive forelimbs as clubs and shields at once. We took them down. We ripped their arms off at one point. The common dog seems to be no match for the messed up world of the surface, but they managed to survive despite being surrounded by mutants and human enemies. There was only one dog. It was in the northern warehouse where they were housing those prisoners. We did end up having to kill him. And then the lurkers. The lurker different than the watchman? The watchman... Oh. That's so interesting. I guess these are different. The watchmen were at the beginning of the game, so in the Volga section, these were all lurkers. While lurkers are far from being the strongest or meanest mutants around, either in the metro or on the surface, they are still a danger to be considered, especially for a lonely wanderer. They are a colonial, burrowing species. As such, they protect themselves from the larger predators by constructing lots of interconnected burrows in close proximity to each other and hiding in them if sufficiently threatened, while keeping the surroundings under constant observation in search for danger or potential prey. When in a lurker-infested area, you can never guess which burrow a bloodthirsty creature might appear from, though you can bet it will most often be the one you're not looking at. Yeah, thanks, game. Alright, that's all the creatures. Equipment. Let's see if there's anything new in our equipment. Gas mask. We already read that. The charger was pretty much the same. Just trying to see if there's anything new. Just a little better than a bottomless bucket holds water besides the light little charger can in times of emergency power things. And a flashlight or a night sight, since it can generate some decent power. It usually takes quite a lot of cranking to do that. The notepad. Why are these with exclamation points like there's something new here? It now includes a map with an automatic course plotter showing my current location, a radio for communicating with the HQ, a compass, and a notepad, which I am planning to use to record my profound thoughts. Interesting observation and other things noteworthy. Perhaps one day I might turn it all into a memoir. Interesting. The backpack section seems to be the same. Where would he... Okay. Binoculars. The binoculars Crest gave to me turned out to be an invaluable gift. Back in Moscow, even on the surface, there was no real need for a pair, but here they do help me out a lot. Of course, you could take a good look at something from a considerable distance using an optical sight, but a wider field of view, great magnification, and above all, binocular picture allows to get a good grasp of relative positions of points of interest and distances between them, making the binoculars a must when marking such point on a map. So yeah, when you look at through the binoculars, you get to see what's up. The bracers are all all Spartans wear them. For keeping track of gas mask filter usage, the watch is combined with another gadget that, despite its tiny size, is also vitally important, the light indicator. And this also still has the... You can see at the end of that paragraph, it's got some HTML business there. So I don't know if it can actually update. The lighter's the same. The Spartan suit's the same. That can be easily configured for heaviest of engagements or reconnaissance missions when swiftness of movement becomes the main priority. The suits also accommodate a modicum of armor and padding, ensuring when combined with an armored vest, flexible and reliable protection. So I think we did get one upgrade. It was a helmet upgrade for our armor, but maybe our vest is... Oh no, we also got a couple different vests. We got one that was for additional throwing items, and we got one for additional ammo, but you have to change those out as you might. So night vision goggles. Even before the war, the night vision goggles were a valued commodity in the military forces. Even moderately concerned with whether carrying out stealthily operations or effectively foiling those with relative fragility of such devices and perpetual darkness of the tunnels. Wow, that sentence doesn't make any sense. Their value and importance in the metro grew exponentially. Obtaining a working specimen is a rare luck, and even the Order could never manage to procure enough to make night vision goggles a piece of standard issue equipment for all of its fighters, providing them only for specific operations. Still, all the helmets used by the Order have the necessary mounting points, and our standard power packs, usually reserved to feeding our flashlights, have additional sockets which all the Spartans can use to plug such goggles into should they obtain them. And we did! So that's good. Weapons, let's see if there's anything new on our weapons. The Takhar, frankly speaking, I didn't recognize that Takhar was a weapon when I saw it for the first time, and it took me some time to believe that it really could function. Even so, this remarkable ugly masterpiece of the Armory Station designers they'd been driven into making by the eternal shortage of ammo has proven to be indispensable for the Order's operatives. Not only does Tahar shoot the ubiquitous bearing balls, it is also practically noiseless, packs a wallop, and is quite accurate over short distances, naturally. All in all, it is an ideal special operations weapon for the conditions of Metro. Of course, you have to mine not just the ammo in the magazine, but also the air reserve pressure, though Tokarov has at least improved the valve so that the air does not escape unless you actually shoot the weapon. Yeah, when you first get it, it was kind of crazy. The revolver... Yep, I think that's good. It tells you everything about the revolver. What firearm could be simpler than a shotgun? Perhaps some extremely primitive zip gun, but those aren't known for their efficiency. A buckshot salvo, though, will make even the toughest and meanest mutants at least think about their next actions carefully. Still, anything from 1 to 4 barrels, not counting different chokes, stocks, recoil compensators, and sights. Even within the Order, the only standard as far as the shotguns are concerned is their caliber. I can't wrap my mind around how Tokarov manages to know them all inside out. Interesting. The Bastard. Let's see if there's anything here that we want to read. Still, the number of bullets the Bastard, as we naturally came to be calling it, managed to spit out before it stutters usually ends up being enough for any opponent. Yeah, it tends to jam a lot. The decoy, the throwing knives, the explosives, the Molotovs. We have all these. Okay. Yeah, we got all that. Alright, so that is it for the diary. Alright, good. Excellent. That is so much information. Let's see if we want to get up from here. And I'm wondering, I think we'll end this episode here, and we'll call it Diary, Spring Diary, because some people don't really want to read all that. But if you do, then this was a great episode for you. So we'll see you in the next episode. We'll continue on the train. Thank you.